skills over intellect. That was what Karl Popper was advocating when he said that we should scientifically source knowledge from the big R in bits. And when we do this, we are able to guide against the tendency of scrupulous humans to want to promote ideologies that is self-serving and that will not serve the higher number of people. And we've seen that happen time again in history. For example, people using the big idea of communism to serve their own greed for power, and we've seen how other supposedly advantageous ideas lead to pogrom in different parts of the world. So what this means is that we should be wary of focusing on the big R, but focus on the small R, which are the little pieces of ideas that we draw from our big R from time to time. And when we do this, we are able to subject it to testability. We are able to employ some form of empiricism to question those ideas. And in questioning those ideas, Charles Cousin in his book, How Long Shall We Live, suggested 3 questions that should be had. Number 1, is it something practice? Does it analyze the problem at hand? Does it understand what is at stake? Number 2, does it sufficiently answer the problem at hand? Number 3, is it practicable? Is it applicable to the reality of humans at that time? Now, if we're looking at the big R, remember our big R, it's supposed to be a reflection of the supreme R. So when we're looking at those big ideas, we are not supposed to, our reality is not such that we sacrifice for the ideas. No, it is rather the ideas is being brought down to answer the problems at hand. So it is not the small R serving the big R, but the big R serving the small R. And remember, even more importantly, the supreme R itself is being subjected into this test. Because, like you will know, certain advice we're given is to test everything and hold on to the truth. So there is also the opportunity to test even the candidates for supreme ideas, such that there is no, like we said before, as long as we're talking about material reality, it should serve the material reality, because the supreme R, as it is, independent as it is, otherworldly as it is, does not it exist to, how can I put it? It is the human ideas, the big R that we formulate, that is obliged to mirror the supreme R. And everything has to be logical, because as we have established before, everything should answer to material logic. Because if it is not logical, apart from the fact that there is the risk of it being abused, it will also not serve the purpose in which this discussion is all about, which is how to bring about useful and productive and advantageous idea from the lessons of creation as it is designed. Okay, now it is pertinent to know that artificial reason, which I will call the small R for this discussion, is lesser in importance to the supreme reason. What we infer from this is that the reason, the big R of all countries, ideally should be uniform, should be the same. But then why it is not is that we allow some level of variation because for each nation to satisfy its own peculiar problems. So there is allowance for uniqueness. Ideally, it should be the same. So that is one of the ways we exercise the liberty to 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 deviate a little from the bigger, which is a reflection of the supreme power. And I would take sufficiently the reason for it. So the bigger is an equivalence of the supreme power, the knowledge of which we cannot presume. We are reduced to searching for the closest option, the bigger, which we can live. Because the supreme power is so otherworldly that we cannot falsify it. It cannot satisfy the convention of science. We can use other model, like looking at history, the pattern of history, and saying if there are recognizable patterns to see the logic driving reality. But then, even at that, we cannot satisfactorily determine what the supreme power is. However, we can design our bigger to be and when we are doing it, it is not that we are putting our faith in the absoluteness of these things, but to put our mind in the thinking mode of the creator. We do not propose that national decisions be made directly by the laws of nature. Rather, we assert that our mind should be in the thinking mode of the intelligent designer, that the language of our mind should be more of science than superstition. We tend to share double-mindedness by using this approach. But one thing it does for us, it allows us to discipline our principles such that we make public policies and abide by it. We design corporate programs and abide by it, because we source it from a bigger. We draw those. We formulate those corporate designs from a source which has been sufficiently tested and proven to be valid. We tend to share double-mindedness by using this approach. You see, in Jim Lance's book, Why Government Programs Fail, one major reason why it fails is that it is vague. It does not have faith in its own self. The program is designed out of personal experiences, personal biases, which could be wrong, and a lot of historicity that could be problematic, and a lot of superstitions. So when we have government programs sourced from sources that are not even recognizable, it is bound to fail. This has been shown again and again. However, when there is faith in the system, when ideas are being drawn from the big house that has already been designed to reflect the reality of the supreme power, there is a decent chance for success. So that is one of the advantages that we readily gain from thinking in a sort of way, as we are going to see in subsequent videos, there has been, even before now, a model that has been shown by which we can think like the designer. The language we use to correlate with the processes of nature. And when we are in that thinking mode, it flows. And one other thing it does for us, apart from shared double-mindedness, is that it allows us to be candidates for the power, the energy to be creative as it should be. When we operate at a frequency that is at a tolerable a proximity to the supreme power, it allows us to be able to access this power of creativity, to be able to innovate, and our ideas part time will be productive because it is valid, it is in consonance with the ideas of creation. So now, let me close with James Lance's take on this. Program failure, according to James Lansing, is related intimately to guidelines and regulations written for that program's administration. They are written in response to problems which arise, in response to real and potential failures that appear. So, may I demonstrate an example of how we may think like the natural scientists in policy implementation? We may consider the policy writer as the intelligent designer who programmed human biochemistry, for example. Programming this, there is the aim of the policy designer is to achieve a result that is closest to what he or she envisions, what is on the paper. So as it is the aim of the designer, we're setting an example now of the human biochemistry is such that it wants the protein to replicate and to answer to some needs of the body and to pass some messages across and to be delivered for specific purpose per time. So how does it work this, and why does it make the why does it follow the pattern that it follows? When we consider the logic behind these things, then we are beginning to understand how to think in line with creation. And this is not scientism. That is, a term that has been used to criticize the proponent of things like this, like following. No, it is not. Rather, it is the use of language, language that imitates the designer of creation, the thinking mode. So when we put the language in use as the creator of policies, of the creator of ideas, or potential innovator or inventor, we are able to think in a higher mode that is in tune with creation. Thank you.